Today's video is going to be on my top 5 pick for beginners metal fab tools. We're going to focus on low budget, easy to get, and the best to use tools for you to have at home if you're just getting started in metal shaping. All right, number 5 on our list is a bench vise. Get a good bench vise, and here's why. A couple different things you can do. Grab the metal, hold the metal for grinding, shape the metal over the vise, or better yet, build some dollies that you can put in the vise. Now you can, it's extra hand. You can hammer the metal over here. You know, you're holding the metal and the hammer and not the dolly anymore. Any other time you're holding the dolly and the hammer and the metal's kind of going everywhere. In this case, you can put the metal in the vise and hammer it, or put the dolly in the vise, which I like to do, and hold the piece of sheet metal and start shaping it over your dolly. Comes in very handy. I actually have one mounted on my table so it doesn't move, and then I have one that's free floating on the table where I can scoot it around and use it where I want it. Sometimes I flip it on its side, clamp the metal in there, and I use it as an extra hand for welding or anything you got to do. So number 5 on the list, definitely get you a bench vise. Number 4 on our list is a shop bag and hammers. There's several different hammers you can use for this. This is the most common. It's plastic, teardropped. It's lightweight, moves the metal plenty good, but it's a little bit slow. You got a lot of big movement to do in the metal, building a gas tank or something for a motorcycle. This is a great hammer. It's rubber, it's heavier. You don't think it would move the metal as much, but it moves the metal very fast. Really like these hammers. I also got a flat tip one. You know, you don't need to move it as much, or you got a little tighter point, you need to get down in that corner, really bring in, like I say, a teardrop gas tank. If you're doing a teardrop gas tank, this will get in that very end corner. Shop bag and hammer is definitely on the list. Cheap, easy to get, Eastwood catalog, online, whatever. Get yourself one. If you're getting into metal shaping, this is a helper. Also can lay this, you're grinding metal on the bench and it's loud and vibrating and rattling. Take your sandbag and throw on that metal. It's like dynamite on there. It deadens out all that vibrating and rattling. Only thing you hear is you tapping. Now you can concentrate on your hammering and dollying. Great tools to have. All right, number 3 on our list, tools are a little bit trickier to get. You ain't just gonna go online and find them or in a catalog. You may have to go to a junkyard or a scrap metal yard, something. My favorite part is the railroad track. It's a piece of railroad track. It's cut off. It's about 15 inches long. I like 15 inches long because you can still maneuver it around, but it's heavy enough that you don't knock it off the table. Lots of edges. If you look at that end, there's all kinds of options of bending metal here. You can bend it over the top. You got a long round edge. You got a square corner. We can flip it this way, bend the metal here, or even in tighter radiuses. You can stand it up. You got square edges here. You got a lot of edges all over this thing for bending metal. Lay it down, now you got a nice long straight edge. If you're doing a 90 and you're gonna tap it straight, whatever you gotta do, piece of railroad track comes in handy. It's a little bit trickier to try to get one. Very hard to cut, but if you can get one, A+ right there. The next one is, it's an oxygen tank, gas tank, whatever you got. You got a torch or a welding tank that is empty and you can cut the top off of it. You cut the top off of it, you flip it upside down. The bottom of that is a nice rounded shaped piece. You can start hammering around this edge. You got a nice radius here, and then you got this gully here. Perfect for all different types of hammering and shaping metal going on right here. Once you have these 2 tools, you'll learn that you're using them a lot more than you ever thought you would. Number 2 on the list, stretcher shrinker. Key ingredient to metal shaping. Some people don't think they need it, but if you really get into metal shaping, you'll find yourself using these a lot. Simple thing, let's say we're gonna make a headlight bezel or a little reveal around the windshield, piece of trim or something. A stretcher shrinker, you put this in here and step on the handle, and as you see right away, it starts shaping that metal. The more you step on it, the more it bends it. So that right there was stretching. We stretched this metal here and made that curve. So if I'm gonna do something like repairing a fender or something where the headlight goes, I would make this a circle that actually went around the headlight, and then you weld this panel into the fender or around your windshield, whatever you're doing. in some type of like a repair situation. But as far as metal fabbing something, you're making something from scratch, you take that 90 and bend it around. Lots of different ways you use these two. That was stretching. Shrinking, I can bring this all right back to where it used to be. Now I'm shrinking that metal down. Shrinking obviously goes a little bit slower, but still gets the job done just nice and easy. Take that metal right back to where it was. You know, you bead roll a panel or your English wheel a panel and you're trying to get that compound curve. You can take and stretch and shrink those edges of that metal and they'll start helping pull the bend in the metal. So stretching and shrinking, you'll need them both. You do not have to buy these expensive ones with the foot pedal. You can get the cheaper hand ones off eBay or whatever you need. We're trying to do a budget video here. We're trying to keep things on the cost down and what you exactly need to have in your garage at home to start shaping metal. Definitely need these two, stretcher and a shrinker. You can't do one, you gotta have them both. All right, number one on our list is hammer and dolly. Here's the hammer, here's the dolly. There's a big world of hammer and dollies out there, so don't get overwhelmed with what you're trying to buy. Just buy some. These are all usually hardened so that you can hammer on them for years. Your hammer heads are hardened too. In the hammers, they may all look the same, but really they're all different. This one's a flatter face, this one's got more dome, that one's got a point, that one's more of a flat, like a wedge, like a chisel. One of my favorites, getting into the corners, there's a lot of different things here. I do a lot of radius stuff. This is a great hammer for doing radiuses and different things. This one is one-sided, it's very shallow, so if you're up in a wheel well or something where there's not enough space to swing this hammer gets a lot more movement. So once you buy a hammer, it's like getting your first tattoo. Once you have your first tattoo, you want all your tattoos. So all the same thing on the hammers. Dolly-wise, dollies are all different shapes and sizes. This one puts a whole lot of curve in the metal. It'll bring your low spot up really fast. Flat side you can use as well. You don't have to buy all your dollies. You can start making dollies. Here's a piece of pipe welded to another piece of steel. I can put that in a vise and hammer a bunch of different radiuses over that. One that's really crazy right here. This is just a piece of pipe and this is a broken apart ball joint. I use the shit out of this thing right here. I'll put this in the vise and I can shape all kinds of stuff. I put a lot of shape really fast with this thing. Sometimes I gotta use it up in a really tight spot and actually use that as a dolly. I'll shove it up in somewhere on the back side of the metal and hammer on the front side to bring a low spot up really quick. A lot of round shape and very hard steel there. Kind of highly recommend you being creative and making some of your own, because some of this shit you just can't buy to get that tight little shape that you need. But hammer and dolly is number one thing on the list. Go to Harbor Freight and buy a beginner's kit, which I believe these red ones come out of. You can buy a kit of like 5 different dollies and it's got 3 or 4 or 5 little hammers. But like I said, all the hammers may look close to the same, but it's the heads and the shapes of the heads that are all different. So a flat head is not gonna move the metal as fast as a round head because it's giving it space to travel on the metal side. So keep that in mind when you're picking your hammers. But to start out, just get a handful of hammers and see what they do. Just start hammering them out and you'll end up having a favorite. Kind of makes a weird thing there, but this one is my favorite and this one is my second favorite. So good luck with your hammer and dolly choices.
Thanks for watching. If you want to see more build videos like this, help us out by liking, commenting, and subscribing to our channel. And it's a little thing to do, but don't forget to turn on those notifications. If you want to buy merch, go to store.classiccarstudio.com. See you next time.